So here I have the data that I was talking about in the last video. I have my x values from -10 to 10 with 200 data points. I have my y values, I have my y prime values, and I've plotted them together on one single set of axes. So notice I've used hold on and hold off. So it plotted this one, kept it there, and then on top of it, plotted this one. So now let's go and say that we want to start changing what these lines look like. So the visual representation of the data, so the visual representation of what you're plotting, can be changed using our line specifiers and additional properties. So what we're going to do is we have our plotting function. So you can use plot, fplot, semilog x, semilog y, log, whatever it is, one of our plotting functions. We have our data, so here's x, here's y, and then we literally type our line specifiers. So our line specifiers are basic single character, or almost single character, things that we can use to change the type of line, the type of data markers we want to use, and the color of the line / data markers. So typed immediately after the vector in single quotes, and we can type as many as we want in any order. So we can go ahead and specify the line style. So if you want to default to solid line, we can already see that. If you want to just redefine the default, if you want to do a dash line, you do 2 dashes, a dotted line, or a dash dot line. That defines your line style. So if I went ahead and next to here, I would put single quotes, and let's say I wanted this to be a dotted line, I would do a single dot. So now when we plot it, we can see that now it's changed to a dotted line. Let's say I want this one to be a dashed line. I would put my single quotes and I would put a dash. So now one's a dotted and one's a dashed line. I can also change my markers. So notice the default is no marker. There's no indication of where my data points are. But I can go ahead and change that. If I want to identify where my data points are, I can go ahead and change it to maybe a circle or an asterisk, or a square or a diamond or a triangle. But let's say I want these ones to be circles and I want these ones to be crosses. So we can see there's 200 data points because we specified 200. So it's not very good to necessarily do that data markers all the time, but sometimes we want to specify our data markers. Okay, but I don't want them, so I'll go ahead and remove them. And then I can also specify my data markers and my lines. So here is where I can do red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, K is black, and white. Notice there's already a differentiation. There is a default differentiation between my lines. But let's say I want to specify that I want this to be a dotted red line and this one to be a dotted or a dashed black line. I can go ahead and change the color now of my lines. If you don't want lines, let's say I only wanted data markers, you would just remove the line style. So you just don't put that one in. So now we can see this is just my circles and this is just a line. So we can play around with as many or as few as we want in any order, specify a line style, specify a data marker symbol, and a color. That's the first thing that we can do in order to start modifying our plot, modifying our line, and changing it up. The second thing we can do is we can have these additional properties. So notice, those are your line specifiers. These are listed here. These additional properties, there are 4 additional properties that we can choose. So we would type the property name in quotes, followed by whatever property value we want to change it to. So the first property value is our line width. So let's say we want a thicker line. I can go ahead and just change my line width. So here, I can say line width. It's not case sensitive. You can do capital line width with capital L and capital W or lowercase. And you can change it to a different value. So the default is 0.5, so let's go ahead and change it to 3. So we can go ahead and see how I made my line significantly thicker. We can also change the marker size. So the line width, we can change the marker size so this one has markers. So let's say I want to change my marker size, once again, not case sensitive, to some positive number, 10. Probably gonna make them really big. But yeah, you can see it made my markers a lot bigger, which is gonna depend on the data you're plotting. We can also change the marker edge color and the marker face color. So if we zoom in on this marker here, it's a circle. We can change the edge and we can also change the middle. Let me go ahead and change the middle. So marker face color, and it's whatever color up here, whatever colors you see up here. So we can change it to red, green, blue. Let me change it to cyan. Cyan's a fun color. Figure 1. And here we go. We can see my data. I have beautiful red edges in my markers and cyan face colors. And here's a nice thick line in there. Let me go ahead and add a line here, a solid line, and I can say my line width. You can do these in any order. So my line width is 5. Boop. There we go. Beautiful, nice, fat lines. But we can see how the data is plotted and how we can change those options with the face color, with our line specifiers. But that's what it looks like.